I'm gonna smoke a. I'm gonna take a drink.
No, now you're here. Now you're here. Now you're live. You're on the screen. I trapped you. No cigarettes. We're going. Welcome everybody. We're talking college basketball. Eat, pray, love. Let's get into this bad boy.
What's going on, everybody? It's been a couple days since I've seen you all. I apologize for that. But football is what everybody usually likes to talk about and see. But we are here. Decent day, decent weekend on the college basketball hoops. Gonzaga is finally back after that dismantling of Kentucky yesterday. Kentucky's still going to be good, guys. It's one, though, you know, I think that we are finally in a spot or in a year where there's no real number one team in the nation. Obviously, some very talented teams across the country, and there's no doubt about that. But we've seen it over. We've seen good teams look bad already this year, so it's going to be really, really fun for this run through March. Yesterday, just to recap, let some plays go. Yesterday, went 7-8 yesterday. That was kind of nice. The only loss I had was I didn't want to lay the 20 or whatever it was with Nebraska full game. So I played them first half. I'm pretty sure they lost the first half. They might have won by 1 as 20-point favorites or whatever. So I lost the first half minus 10.5. They ended up going on they ended up winning by like 30 anyway. So my read was right. Just kind of probably just should have played full game anyway. But here we are today. Let's get used to this. Texas Tech and Creighton to start things off this morning. So I'm going to play Creighton here minus the 3.5. Couple reasons why. When I made this play yesterday, I haven't looked at the money, but I would assume there's some funky things going on with this because last night I know for a fact about 70% of the money was on Texas Tech. And I was all over Creighton. I'm sure some of the Creighton money has came in a little bit this morning. I haven't checked it this morning, but now that this line has moved to 3.5, look, I think that Creighton is still undervalued. I think that Creighton is probably one of the best teams in the country. There's no question about that. Both of these teams are extremely similar, though. They're only a couple spots difference in KenPom. They're both going to hold their heads high on that defensive end of the floor and make you work. So I really think the only reason that I love Creighton so much is, one, I do think they're a little bit undervalued so far. Texas Tech has a little bit more name value with them, or what I'm saying as far as last year and how good they've been, and Mark Adams and the no middle defense and yada yada yada. But again, I think that Creighton's undervalued. I think that they have guys and shooters like Baylor Shireman and stuff like that, who's like a 6'8", 6'7" sniper. That is going to be able to make some shots they don't have to worry about getting in close and having to worry about that no middle defense. So I think Texas Tech's getting a lot of love. I can understand it. But I'm going to roll with Creighton here minus the 3.5. Like I said, I still think they're a little bit too undervalued. I had this at 5.5. And the model had this about 4, just about where it was. So nothing crazy on the model side, but like I said, Creighton seems to be Texas Tech seems to be a pretty popular side. So I'm going to push back on that a little bit and go with the Blue Jays here. Ohio State, San Diego State. This one, loving it right now. It doesn't really make any sense to me. I mean, I get it, but all over San Diego State here. I've already posted this play of our VIPs. I posted this last night. San Diego State minus the 4.5, and it's not even a real question for me. Look, this team is just very, very good. I've said it over and over again that I think that this is probably the best defensive team in the country. There's no question about that for me. They have always been that way, but now this year with coming back, being able to have all those guys like Matt Bradley and stuff from last year, it's just been really fun to watch. Ohio State's a team that I think they're going to be all right, but you lose guys like EJ Liddell and Malachi Brannon and stuff like that. They got Tanner Holden, Sean McNeil, a couple of those guys who are decent, and Zed Key gets better every year. But this is all about that San Diego State defense. look, they were returning 4 of the 5 starters from last year. Like I said, Matt Bradley is one of those guys that I really like. I really don't understand this line. Probably thought like I said, I thought it should have been around 6, but Ohio State's taking a little bit of money. I don't really care. All over San Diego State here today.
Somebody's asking for the game if you would take the under in the game overall, the total.
Yeah, especially now that it's moved. I think it was like in the 35s or 36s earlier. I would never, it'd be really hard. It would have to be a very low total for me to play an over with San Diego State because that's just how they play. They play through defense first. So at 140, I know that's simple. Obviously, everybody knows that 70 is half of that. So it's just really hard for me to think to get each team gets to 70. That's just how I kind of look at it in my head. So even if San Diego State were to win by like 10, it doesn't matter. I would still go under one. If it's at 139.5, I would definitely be under. There's no question about that. I think it's actually up to 143.5. So I would actually probably wait on that until you get a little bit more value because some people might be just pumping that over, but that's just me personally. So Mississippi State and Marquette. This is going to be kind of a fun one for me just because I think you have two teams that are extremely similar. Mississippi State's been really good to start the year. Again, they haven't played anybody that's obviously on Marquette's level yet. Akron, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, South Dakota, stuff like that. But they are playing extremely well. And the defense for Mississippi State is where they're hanging their heads. 44, 54, 47, 42 points allowed. Again, not the same competition as Marquette can bring to the table, but at the same time, you've got to give them credit for what they've done on the defensive end of the floor so far. Marquette, on the other hand, Shaka Smart, we all know about that. Looked pretty good. They played one top 25 opponent, and that was Purdue at Purdue on the road. And Marquette had a chance to win that game. They came out, I think it was, Ken Pom breaks it down into 4 quarters, like the NBA, as I understand. There's no quarters in college basketball. But Marquette lost the third quarter or the second quarter by like 1 or 2. It was just a possession. And then they came out and they won the third quarter. Purdue ended up, I think, winning the fourth quarter by like 10 or so. So it kind of looked a little bit worse than it is. But Marquette played very well. So that's why I'm taking the points with Marquette here today. I understand that Mississippi State and their defense is really good. Mississippi State's 27th in Ken Pom, Marquette 67th. But if you're going to give me Shaka Smart as a dog with that Marquette defense, I'm going to take it. Again, it's not really a knock on Mississippi State. I don't really know what we're going to get with them. They don't shoot free throws very, very well. 63% from the free throw line. That's good for 306th in the country. So I don't expect either one of these teams to really blow it out or blow the other one out. So I'm not going to – it's just really hard for me to get there behind a team like Mississippi State that really has a hard time shooting free throws. Not that great as far as protecting the ball either. And doesn't shoot the 3 ball either as well. So very good inside the arc, top 50, number 43 in the country at 2-point percentage. But free throws and threes, the two things that I look at the most, they are not good at it. So it's really hard for me to lay points here. So give me the Marquette Golden Eagles plus the 3, 2.5 now, whatever. Arizona and Cincinnati. This one should be pretty fun just because of the fact that I guess we get to see Arizona now finally tested a little bit. I don't really know how good Cincinnati, you can really say Cincinnati is for me, but we're going to find out. Arizona, obviously coming off of a very solid year last year. They did lose a lot of guys, but they still got Kirk Kriisa running the point. They still got Andre Strupelis, Omar Barlow, who used to be a guy from the Zags who came over from them. Cedric Henderson. They've got players. There's no question about that. Cincinnati, on the other hand, defensively has been pretty good. Offensively, not so great. They ran into Northern Kentucky, and that's another thing, is that this is going to be a huge step up in class for Cincinnati. They played a non-ranked Chaminade team and then a Cleveland State team who I'm not going to say a bad thing about Cleveland State because they always seem to make us money year after year after year. But compared to a Cincinnati or Arizona, they're not at that level. And then like I said, Cincinnati lost to Northern Kentucky. We had Northern Kentucky in that game plus 6.5. And they lost that game 64-51. So it wasn't really close. I know a couple of people have said that maybe it was like a look ahead spot or whatever, but the Cincinnati Bearcats have issues on the defensive end, if you ask me. So I don't really know what's going to happen when they see this fifth-ranked Arizona offense as far as KenPom and adjusted offensive efficiency. Number one in effective field goal percentage as far as that Arizona offense. So I just don't understand how Cincinnati keeps up in this game. Arizona minus 8.5 for me. It looks like it's bumped up to 9.5. So I don't love it as much as at 9.5, but I would still play it. There's only one way to look at this game for me. I think that Arizona tries to run them off the floor. I really, really do. They have everything on them. Arizona third in height, 74th in bench minutes. The only thing that Cincinnati is going to have on them is the experience level, which I don't really know. I think that the talent is going to overmatch that experience. So Arizona shoots free throws really good. And like I said, everything about Cincinnati's offense is pretty damn bad. So small lean to the Wildcats at the number. The next game, is Syracuse good? Or, I mean, I'm just wondering because now we got Syracuse and Richmond. Look, Syracuse so far has a really bad loss to Colgate, and then they have a couple really nice wins against teams that I'm not really sure if you can. I mean, considering the Syracuse, they're bad. But then on the other hand, you have Richmond, who looked good against VMI, looked good against a pretty decent Northern Iowa team. They ended up losing to Charleston, but that was away. Charleston was home. Charleston plays at a very high pace. It's really hard to prepare for. So that as a first road game, they ended up losing in OT 92-90. So not a ton there. But then 3 days later, they lose to Wichita State. So I'm not really sure what to really think, but at the same time, I'm not really there to think that Syracuse is really able to blow anybody out. I mean, I just they're kind of small as far as their point guards and stuff like that. That Garrard kid and Mintz, I mean, they're only 6'1" and 6'3". I know that Jesse Edwards and the Benny Wilson kid are pretty long, and in general they're long, but it's like it's all their bench guys. Tyler Burton, Jason Nelson, and then I can't think of the Bigelow kid's name. Isaiah Bigelow, all for Richmond, all pretty good. Both of those, the Jason Nelson kid's tiny, but Burton and Bigelow, 6'7" guys. I'm taking the points with Syracuse. With Richmond here today. The Syracuse defense is a little bit better. The Richmond defense is just a little bit better than the Syracuse defense. Obviously, the Syracuse offense is much better, but I think that those numbers are a little bit inflated. Playing teams like Northeastern and Lehigh. So give me the points with Richmond here on a neutral floor. If the Syracuse Orange can somehow beat me by multiple possessions, so be it. But all over the Richmond Spiders, especially getting over 3.5. I think that's it, right, Bevo?
That is it, Chief. I do have one last question from our loyal viewer, Mr. E. Sanford, and he asked, Minnesota +1 against Cal Baptist. Am I missing something?
No, you're not missing anything. It's on my VIP sheet. I set that out overnight. I played the over as well. It looks like it's like 1.5 now, so we'll see. I'm on Minnesota as well. If I take a loss there, I take a loss. But Cal Baptist, I can't think of it off the top of my head now. But they lost to somebody. They've looked up and down at times. Excuse me. They went in and beat Washington. Excuse me. They went in and beat Washington. People are thinking that's a good thing. I don't really believe it. Give me the big school. Give me the Gophers.
Alrighty, and that's it.
Eat, pray, love.
Eat, pray, love, guys. Hope you have a great day. We will be back with some more picks for y'all tomorrow. Alrighty, we're out.
I forgot I didn't